Okay, so great. So let's get started. And as more people join, we'll see them and welcome them. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on today's webinar. It's the Oracle Cloud Platform Solution Showcase webinar series. My name is Fal Sarkar. I'm representing Suneratech. I'll be the moderator and host for today's session. And we'll be talking, as I mentioned earlier, about automated integration. But first, a little introduction of what we're doing. We're really excited this week. We're presenting what we're calling 1 week of thought leadership to complete the journey to the cloud puzzle. A lot of people say, the cloud is a journey. We think along with the journey, it's also a bit of a puzzle. There's a lot of different versions of cloud out there, a lot of different cloud stories. And what we're trying to do at Suneratech is not just focus on the cloud as cloud, but what can the cloud be used for? What kind of solutions can the cloud be used to create, to solve a range of problems. And the webinar series that we're going to be presenting this week, or we started yesterday, will cover a range of topics. Yesterday's topic was on digital supply chain for manufacturers. We have a recording of that, which we'll be happy to share if anyone's interested. Today, we'll be talking about the automated cloud integration, talking specifically about the tools available in the Oracle Cloud to integrate applications and make everything work together. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about application testing, specifically cloud application testing for HCM and ERP cloud for whenever applications are released, updates are released, they need to do some testing and validation. This cloud tester product automates that. On Thursday, we'll be have a great conversation around AI, artificial intelligence, and chatbots. We'll be demystifying AI and chatbots and how AI can now actually be deployed within an organization, specifically around chatbots to address a range of things like marketing to support to service call centers and things like that. And finally, on Friday, we'll conclude by talking about lifting and shifting on-premise workloads to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. If you have Oracle applications, non-Oracle applications, or even custom-made applications, you can move those to the Oracle Cloud and gain a lot of benefits. But today's presentation will be on autonomous or automated cloud integration. Basically the idea that integration in the future, or currently, as it may be, will be automated in many ways. Rather than keeping APIs up to date using manual processes, you could use a lot of the tools available in the Oracle Cloud to automate that type of integration. We'll be talking about that. But let me quickly introduce Suneratech. Suneratech is in fact, I could actually bring up their website if you're interested. Suneratech is an organization that works with businesses to accelerate the digital transformation of their business using cloud technologies and digital transformation tools. We have pre-built solutions that help companies in their journey to the cloud and in their digital transformation of their businesses, their employees, and how they interact with customers. Suneratech is a born-in-the-cloud company, and we focus on 3 main areas, what we call a 3-switch framework: automation in IT, and automation in your business, and then focusing on cloud technologies as a platform. So we enable cloud migration, moving, like I mentioned, applications that are traditionally on-premise in your data center onto the cloud. And then finally, once you're on the cloud, we help drive innovation through solutions. And the range of solutions we'll be talking about today in terms of automation, but also this whole week around digital supply chains, chatbots, cloud integration, and things like that. So that's what Suneratech is. We're an Oracle Platinum partner, and we are actually the #1 cloud velocity partner of Oracle, having the most cloud velocity wins and implementations for fiscal year 18 last year. So as I mentioned, we'll be talking about automated integration. So as a quick introduction, as the types and forms of applications proliferate and diverge, enterprise IT teams who want to integrate, say, 2 or 3 applications quickly, they find themselves daunted by all the different types of formats, the different types of versions. Now with the cloud, applications are being continuously upgraded, and then a lot of the integrations fall to the wayside. So the inability to create business processes that connect multiple applications, integrate existing and new data, and orchestrate effectively between cloud and non-cloud pose a serious challenge and exact a heavy toll in terms of time, money, and productivity. So Suneratech's automated integration solutions integrate SaaS and on-premise applications, simplify applications connectivity using pre-built integration flows, provide real-time data replication and synchronization, and maintain hybrid environments operating at peak performance. The key takeaways from this webinar will be to understand automated integration and its features and benefits, hear about how customers and customer successes that are doing these types of integration, how you can lower your costs, increase profitability, and achieve faster time to market, and best practices to take advantage of an automated integration workflow. So today's speakers will be Anirudh Pucha from Suneratech, and Robert Wunderlich from Product Strategy Director from Oracle. Anirudh, are you there? Can you hear
Thanks
me?
so much.
Yeah, great. Hi, Anirudh. Can you introduce yourself, say a few words about what you do and your role at Sunera?
Sure, Fal. Thanks so much. Good morning. Good morning, good evening to everyone, depending on the location from where you've joined. I'm Anirudh Pucha. I'm the Director of Cloud Integrations and also heading the pre-sales at Suneratech for Cloud Integrations. My primary focus is to modernize and digitize the customer businesses in the cloud integration space and make sure that they move to the market very fast with superior customer satisfaction and the overall success. So it's pretty much I take care of everything in the cloud integration space. Thanks, Fal.
Great. And Robert Wunderlich. Robert, are you there?
Yes, I am, Val.
Great. Welcome to the webinar. Can you introduce yourself and say a few words?
Certainly. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to spend with you today. My name is Robert Wunderlich. I'm a product manager with Oracle and our integration platform as a service team, what I would call the most exciting team within Oracle. I've been with Oracle for a little over 20 years, ranging anything from ERP development to integration for the last 10. So very excited to be with you guys today.
Excellent. So let me bring up the presentation here and see if I can share the screen and then pop this up on full screen. Again, we'll be talking about the Oracle Integration Cloud and the future of integration. And this will be our agenda today. And we'll be starting with Robert talking about some of the business challenges and what is driving integration, talking about solution ready for any business requirement, and then move into why the Oracle Integration Cloud is differentiated from some of the competition and some of its benefits, some of its components, and then also talk about integrating SaaS and non-SaaS applications. With the rise of SaaS applications in all parts of the business, you see a lot of different types of applications out there, and how do you integrate those with existing non-SaaS applications is a bit of a challenge. And then we'll have a demo on how OIC works, along with some success stories and use cases. So I'm going to kind of just dive in. I already made the introductions to the speakers. So Robert, I'm going to hand it over to you. I'll be driving the slides, so just tell me when to move to the next slide, and why don't you just go ahead and get started.
Okay, thank you, Phil. So my primary role today is really to kind of tee this up for Pucha to kind of give us a little bit of a background of some of the challenges that we have today, begin the introduction into the Oracle Integration Cloud, and really segue this over to delve into the specific use cases. So some of the areas we'll look at is in the consumer experience or the customer experience, the human capital management ERP. And what we find is that as we move from enterprise integration or enterprise on-prem to cloud, integration is becoming more and more important than ever. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide. And I think that will actually just show us the main categories that we'll be talking about. So let's go ahead and go on to the next slide. And we'll look at the customer experience as the first example. So these are some of the things that businesses are dealing with. They're trying to move forward with servicing their customers to provide the appropriate quotes. They're encountering delays. And a lot of this is due to a lot of poorly integrated systems, a lot of brittle connections that we have, and even a lot of manual processes. And so they're wasting a lot of money going into that. So let's go ahead and look at some of the integrations on the next slide, and we'll see how this goes together. So when we look at this, we have multiple business processes. We start with a lead to opportunity, opportunity to quote, quote to order, and order to invoice. And most companies do not have just one system to do everything. They may have many different systems involved. And a lot of times this evolves over time, and they will tend to start to create point-to-point integrations between these components. And this can be a real challenge as we go in, because it's not only just getting the integration created, it's also managing that integration through its life cycle and what's going on. And so customers have seen this. You know, they call in and they need support, they need help. They end up in a waiting game or being run around in circles trying to figure out how they can appropriately get the information that they need. And so this is a real challenge in customer experience. Let's go to the next slide and we'll talk about some of the challenges for human capital management. So in human capital management, this is actually becoming even more accelerated today. I have seen myself, and I'm sure you have too, you get that alert from that former coworker on LinkedIn, or you see a tweet and they've taken a new position and they're so excited about how everything was set up for them, how they were welcomed and everything was prepared for them. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen in most companies. Most companies, the day one experience for an employee is very challenging. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide and we'll look at some of those processes, the connections between here. When you look at this, we get into recruit to onboard, and then we get into enabling the employee, getting them set up with payroll. A lot of times, most employees today in many organizations are just faced with a lot of brittle processes where information is not in the right place. They're having to go through many different steps. Things are not organized. A well-organized and a well-integrated company is a company where when that employee comes in day one, they have everything set up for them. And so this is really critical to be able to provide our employees this capability, and integration drives that. Let's go to the next case. So the next case, of course, is ERP, and this can take many different forms, but what we can talk about is some of the supply chain and ordering. And ordering can take a number of forms. It can take it from the standard procurement that you might be thinking of if you're ordering parts or office supplies for your use at work, but it's also used very much in the case of building out products or building out finished products. So let's go to the next slide and we can look at some of the integrations as they apply. So here you have requisition to fulfillment through to invoice, to payment, and payment to receipt. And again, many different systems involved. Of course, we would like you to use all Oracle systems, and we provide capability from Oracle all the way across the top of the stack. But many companies also have other systems. So integration helps us bring the experience together to enable employees and to enable systems to work together to be able to have a much better user experience. So let's go to the next slide and we'll see how the technology.
I had a quick question here.
Go ahead.
So when people are, putting together, these integrations, how much kind of planning and, kind of work needs to be done to figure out exactly how these applications will work together in the workflow? Is that an important part to consider, or is it merely making the integrations happen and then the kind of data exchanges happen as they do? Is there a lot of work involved in terms of setting these integrations up?
Yeah, that's actually a fabulous question. There is a good amount of planning that needs to take place, and this actually brings about another requirement that adapters, that I'll speak a little head on because this is so important, is that first and foremost is you do need to plan. A lot of technology vendors, especially a vendor who is selling a particular application, whether it's a SaaS or an ERP, HCM, they will very much say that, they have easy to integrate, and, they provide a capability. And a lot of times what they're doing is they're kind of providing an endpoint or a conduit. They're providing the technology for the integration, but there's so much more that goes beyond that, is understanding the requirements of the application. So adapters do help us with that, and that's one of the areas that we accelerate, is being able to guide users through, which I'll talk about in a little more detail in a moment. But this does require a good amount of planning just to understand what the ultimate use case is, because sometimes some customers will look at, they'll hear about a particular integration style or connectivity style, and then they will think that they need to go down that path, and when their system doesn't even support that. So definitely having a center of expertise and getting help along the way to plan and map out your integrations is very important. We're certainly not selling the silver bullet. The technology that we're providing definitely greatly improves and accelerates the process and helps you going forward, but it still requires that human element, that understanding of integration and those applications and working across your teams. So very good question. Right. That actually brings me to the next slide that we'll get into. And when you look at this, integration and connectivity really works across a number of planes. So I'm just going to start at the top with application integration. This is connecting applications. As a matter of fact, in all of those use cases that we saw, that's what everybody is going to do, whether they're using the integration cloud, integration platform, or making the integrations, hand-rolling the integrations themselves, they're connecting applications. And that works across two ends of the spectrum. You could work from the integration specialist side, where you might be using some specialized tools, all the way to the line of business where somebody is using a recipe style integration. Now we support all the full gamut. We support the recipe style integration to allow the line of business to be able to very quickly create integrations to a lot of SaaS applications that are coming onto the market. It seems like every other day, to application integration. And we can handle some very complex cases, but the sweet spot is we're really bringing this to the middle, where we're solving a lot of the complexity. We're helping you through that with the integration cloud. And it's not just connecting systems. That's kind of a step one. We connect systems, and then what we start to discover is that there's a lot of human processes around those systems. There's a lot of manual steps, and taking a piece of paper and deciding where that piece of paper needs to go from user 1 to approver 2 is really a zero value activity for people. And so if we can model that out and bring in human processes, that's key. And that's where we get process automation. Another key point to that is that there are also some systems where they are not integratable. The type of interface they have, it may be a very old legacy mainframe. So you may be talking green screen. And this is where we bring in robotic process automation. So if you think about it from an efficiency and speed perspective, if you can integrate through application integration, that is the fastest, and that's what you would want to go with. And then if you can't do that, but you have a user interface that you can access, you can use robotic process automation, which would be faster than people and less expensive than people having to perform those steps manually. You can also, once you raise that to another level, is that you can build applications. And so this is where we're constructing business value applications on top of our disparate systems. And so you can use Visual Builder. Now, you'd ask that question, and this is where we come back, we kind of bring this around, is that when you create all these integrations, you have to have that thought leadership of, how are you developing your integrations, and how are you managing those integrations, and how will people continue to use those throughout their life cycle? And so that brings us into API-led integration, designing the best style integration, and also managing and making that integration available going forward. And so that's where we get API management. And so API management and adapters, which I'll talk about, kind of sit on top and at the edges. And so for the API management perspective, you're bringing that thought leadership forward as you're designing your integrations, but you're also managing that experience for your consumers. And then of course, this all has a hybrid deployment model. So you have your deployment flexibility, whether it's on-prem, or in the cloud, or a mix of the two. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. And so we'll talk about, just real quick as a recap, from the application integration side, or the API management side rather, is you have this notion, this API management platform with the Oracle Integration Cloud, where you can design your services that you're going to use for maximum reusability. You're going to be able to test them so that all of your users, the people who are developing the integrations, to the front-end users that might be using those applications, as in the developers, they can test those and iterate and make sure that you're developing the right thing. This reduces risk because we can give you a lot of tools to very quickly develop components. But if you develop the wrong thing, that can become very expensive. So this is very important to help both customers and also their team to be able to develop the right integration. We also want security, of course. And so this is what this provides for us, is at the edges, it provides us security endpoints so that as we make services available and we go to reuse those services, we want to make sure that those are the right people using them. Now, API-led integration is not just API. It also brings in integration. So let's go to the next screen and let's talk about some of the things that integration will do for us. So integration, obviously connecting systems, but what we really need, and this is our secret sauce, is the pre-built adapters, because that is a key component for your users connecting systems, is to be able to connect to those systems, even if they don't have a full depth of understanding of that application. They need to have guidance. They need to be enabled to be able to connect to those systems. Also accelerators through pre-built integration flows and some best practices to be able to connect systems, to be able to accelerate your work, to be given a proper foundation and a proper starting point. And what's really important is who owns these connectors. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide and we'll take a look at an example. Is some players in the market, they will brag about having a lot of connectors, but those connectors are not owned by that vendor. They are produced by community members. They're put out there. And so that vendor may not necessarily support those connectors. Our philosophy is that we own, we build, we deliver, and we support our adapters. And so our adapters drive that communication to the application. The adapter takes care of a lot of the underlying components, the interactions with that application. It shields the integration developer from those complexities. And so we believe that that is a really key value differentiator for us, because when you're taking the integration platform, you're not just connecting to an application, you're actually getting a connection that will help drive your use of that application in the appropriate manner. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Wrapping this together, this has put us in a great position. We're very proud of this because in a very short order, we have taken on the integration platform as a service market, and we are in the leader quadrant for the Gartner MQ for the second year in a row. So this is really very exciting for us, but this is really only the beginning. We have so many things coming up. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead and segue to Pucha so he can start to expand out some of these features and really talk about some specific customer use cases. And then I'll stay online and listen with you.
Great. So I had one more question for you before we hand it over to Anirudh. We hear a lot over the last 10, 15 years about SOA, service-oriented architecture, and web services, and now integration cloud. Can you kind of put these terms into context for us? In terms of maybe a kind of quick evolution. Now you see a lot of like you said, these kind of pre-built APIs and these connectors and things like that. Where does the idea of SOA and web services and all of those discussions come in? Is that all kind of subsumed under this topic?
It is actually. So that's a very good question. And you'll see this sometimes is a term will come to popularity, and a lot of players in the market they'll latch onto that term. SOA, or service-oriented architecture, is quite simply the architecture for service enabling applications. And so that is still very much in play with what we're doing. And a lot of our components, our deliveries, do use some of those foundational components. And we also work within those contexts. So for example, you could use our Oracle Integration Cloud with our SOA suite or SOA suite on-prem. We have a connector or an agent that will make that connection for you, or you can use that agent to, of course, connect directly to back-end applications. And that's what is really important, is that a lot of these approaches, they don't necessarily go away. But we segue this in, we uplift that experience, because as we're moving to the cloud, it's no longer taking a heavyweight integrated development environment, going in and writing a bunch of code. Now, as we're moving this up to the cloud, we're using a more prescriptive experience with the integration cloud, and that allows us to take the next steps. So some of those next steps is providing guidance for you through our recommendation engine, starting to provide more of a marketplace experience. But there are still a lot of cases where we will use SOA on-prem, and a lot of customers, they're not forced off of that. I mean, that's a very long timeline where you'll see customers that have that in place. They'll still continue to use that, but they'll evolve over time as they make their move to the cloud.
All right, great. Well, thank you very much for that. So, all right, Anirudh, so I'm going to hand it over to you right now. Why don't you kind of tell us about what you'd like to talk about?
Sure. Thanks, Val. Thanks, Robert, for taking it through. So Suneratech is the #1 Oracle Cloud Velocity partner for FY18. We are Oracle Platinum Cloud Select partner. We have a lot of awards. We have won so far for our cloud implementations. We have many customers in the cloud space. If you see, it's the first time in the world we have implemented for some of the customers, and this is all self-explanatory. We'll have it posted. Let's move to the next slide. So the Oracle Integration Cloud Differentiation, as Robert was taking us through. So the Integration Cloud platform as a whole has solutions for multiple features. So if you have a business case, so you have a business case and you think of a solution, the Oracle Integration Cloud product has the solution for that particular business case. For example, in this particular slide, you see the hybrid integration, intelligent processes, and visual building. So you have a scenario where you would like to integrate different applications, any SaaS integration scenario, or you want to integrate between an on-premise and a SaaS application, which is a hybrid scenario. You have an integration solution in place. So where you can create an integration and you can run anywhere. So that's the beauty of the hybrid integration, where you can integrate the on-premise and the SaaS applications. As another great feature we have here is pre-built integrations. So what it actually means for a developer is you need not sit down and create a new integration from scratch. So you have pre-built integrations in the Oracle Marketplace where you can just download, and it has a pre-built solution ready for you. All you have to do is just modify that as per your use case and you're good to go. Then you have the intelligent processes where it has the process modeling for both structured as well as unstructured processes data. And it also helps you to provide the human workflow and decision rules. So what it actually means is if you have a scenario where you have a human interaction, if you have a requirement of approvals, escalations, and so forth, a workflow, so all that is possible. The process automation itself is possible, where you can have the RPA introduced to do the routine tasks, and you as a business user can focus on the business functionality and the process flow. Then you also have the visual building capability, where you can actually streamline your mobile and web application development, where you have a rich UI in web-based forms, interfaces to create your single sign-on user interface applications for your mobile web and any IoT-enabled devices. So what it helps is the time it takes for you to create an application for your specific business is not less than minutes to hours. So that's the beauty of Visual Builder, and it actually the beauty with Visual Builder is it can go hand in hand with your process automation as well as integration, hybrid integration as well. So that means as and when you get the live data, you can push that to any device. Let it be IoT device, let it be a web form, let it be a mobile app, you name it, and you see the data, live data feeds. Next slide.
Yep. I had a quick question before we move to the next slide. When you talk about pre-built integrations, so of course, that is as the applications that you're integrating are now. As these applications evolve, and especially in the SaaS environment, it's always changing. How are those pre-built integrations kept up to date? Is that something that Sunera is responsible, or is that automated in terms of just how it stays up to date, or who keeps those connectors updated?
Sure, Fal, that's a great question. Actually, that question helps a lot of customers who are on this call. Many of the customers have this question because everyone wants to go faster to the market with pre-built integrations. So the pre-built integrations are in the Oracle marketplace, which Oracle maintains, but anyone who has an integration, as an interesting use case, goes via the extensive approval cycle of Oracle, where if you have to publish your integration, you have to go via this approval cycle. And once you publish your integration, everyone can start leveraging that. So having said that, Suneratech has a lot of pre-built integrations in the Oracle marketplace. To just name a few, we have pre-built integration between Shopify to NetSuite, which is already on the marketplace. A lot of customers start using it. And we have also some pre-built integrations for Magento and eBay to SAP B1 integrations as well. And there's some more in the line we're planning to publish right there. So it's pretty much a lot of pre-built integrations we have already provided to, and many customers are actually leveraging it.
Right. Great. All right, next slide.
Yep, thanks. So this particular slide is a pretty interesting one. So you come up with a business requirement, and the Integration Cloud platform has a solution for you. So if you look at this slide, so if you have a process automation requirement, then there's Process Cloud Services feature. If you have integration with app requirement, and where there's a new integration development requirement, then you have the integration piece, that component which takes care of it. If you have a requirement with the B2B part, then you have the SOA CS or MFT CS component. If you have anything to do with your API management and governance, then the API CS component takes care of that. And the most important part, where you have the patterns for the moving data, the real-time data, then your streaming analytics takes care of it. So all these data which flows through all these components, you can actually manage that and drill down into using the rich dashboards, the real-time data, using the integration inside components. So this particular slide actually tells you, irrespective of your business requirement, this Oracle integration platform has a solution ready for you. And we have a lot of pre-built integrations which Suneratech has pushed into the marketplace. Next slide. So moving on, we're talking about the process automation feature here, where it simplifies your automation of your entire processes across the enterprise, where you have pre-built end-to-end process templates which you can leverage for your particular business requirement, like form approvals, you have product regressions, and you have business plan approvals. So this particular visual designer is pretty rich for you to create any kind of a form. Let it be for a mobile, let it be for web. It has connectors to many IoT enabled devices like bots, or you have any apps to look into the real-time data, so that once you look into the real-time data, you can take immediate action on that particular data as and when you have a new requirement coming in from the business. So all these embedded forms for the seamless user experience. So all these forms have a rich user experience built inside the web form itself. So it's all in the web form. You do not have a separate IDE to do this. So it's pretty rich and pretty fast. So the integration analytics and visualization actually helps you to collect all the business metrics, the KPIs, for you to take decisions. So if you're a business user, you're from a CIO, you want to take a decision based on the real-time data, based looking at the KPIs, where you actually stand, where do you have to actually go. So you track the metrics from the end-to-end business process lifecycle without any development. The integration analytics and visualization solution really provides everything. Next slide. So the visual builder, as we talked, to recap, so this helps you to provide simplify the web and mobile app creation. So it has pre-integrated with multiple applications. So in the future webinars, we're going to deep dive into each of these topics on visual builder, process automation, integration, application development, analytics. So there we're going to show you some demos on the pre-integrated with application, designing mobile and web apps in minutes. So the great part about this is actually generates the code for you. Rather you do the coding, it automates the code generation and one-click deployment to devices. And of course, if you're a developer and looking for some extensibility feature, then you have extending with the standard JavaScript and HTML as well. Move to next slide. So in this slide, we're going to show you a demo of the machine learning based recommendations with OIC, where as an integration between Oracle Sales Cloud and RightNow, and I'll take you through as the video progresses. So this is the UI of the integration cloud. It has integrations, component connections, the lookups, packages, agents, adapters, and libraries. So this is an integration cloud environment where there's some integrations created. And we'll talk about the Sales Cloud to RightNow integration, where you have a Sales Cloud as a trigger point, RightNow as the invoke point, and we have activated the integration. And that's the endpoint URL where you can invoke this integration, where it transfers the incidents from Sales Cloud to RightNow. Those are the options. You can view, edit, clone, create version, export, delete, deactivate, and have the tracing of this integration. So we're going to see the machine learning based recommendations, where the recommendations of the mapper activity of these integrations. So that's the trigger point. And this is the mapper. That's a create organization. We're going to create an organization in the RightNow environment, and that's the endpoint. So we're going to see the mapper activity and how, yeah. So if you see this on the source side, you see the Sales Cloud, and the target, you see the RightNow. So if you click the recommend button, Sal, can you please pause here?
Sure.
For a minute? So on the source side, you see the Sales Cloud environment payload, and on the target, you see the RightNow environment payload. So all the fields are displayed in this particular mapper activity. And let's assume you do not have this machine learning based recommendations feature in OIC. So you as a developer, you are supposed to know both the environments, the functionality of the Sales Cloud, as well as the RightNow environment and any other SaaS application you would like to integrate with. But with this feature, you need not understand the in-depth functionality of the environment. Rather, this helps you in recommending the mappings which you have to map between the source and target fields. These fields are the recommendation which it makes is based on the previous mappings which many people have done in the past. The machine understands the most commonly and widely used standard fields between these two systems, and it suggests you the recommendation mappings based on the star ratings. So that decreases the developer's time which he invests in mapping the fields. So the most complex part in any integration is data mapping and transformation. So this feature reduces a lot of time in developing and mapping those fields. So it's a fantastic functionality in this case. Yeah, let's move on. Play, please. So if you see there, it recommends the fields. So the mapping recommendation based on Oracle and the customer relevance is 1 to 5 stars. And if you see on the source, the country on the country field in the source, then on target side, the country field in the target. So it suggests the recommendation mapping between these fields, and once it displays, you can just select those, and when you click on choose, it starts mapping the fields. So let's assume you have a mapping requirement of 100 or 500, 1,000, even 1,000 fields. Imagine you don't have this feature, you may have to spend almost like hours or days together, but with this feature, it will take seconds to minutes. So that's the beauty of this. Similarly, in the invoke mapper, you will see the same. When you see on recommend button, it displays all the fields for you. And all you have to do is just check the checkbox, say choose, and just map it. So the party ID to party number, and the source system on the source to the source system on the target, so on and so forth for all these fields. So it's a real boon for the developers, and it saves a lot of time. Yes, Val, I think we can move on to the next slide.
Yeah, okay. We could probably tell the little elf who's doing all the mouse movements to slow down a bit. So, okay, so let me just, all right, this is paused and okay, click. Is that the next slide? Okay, great.
Yes, yeah, perfect. So with that, we talked about the fantastic features we have in the Integration Cloud product. Now we'll look at some of the Oracle product implemented by Suneratech for our customers. So Minkota Power Cooperative is our Suneratech customer. We have successfully implemented the solution for Minkota Power. Minkota Power is a not-for-profit electric generation and transmission cooperative. And move on to the next slide. So they had these initial challenges. So when they came to us for looking for a solution, integration solution, they had 5 on-premise applications, and their EBS system was considered as the single source of truth for all the applications. So the beauty here is we have used Oracle Integration Cloud for connecting all on-premise applications. We have not gone for on-premise, rather we've gone for the cloud integration for on-premise applications. And so the multiple point solutions were introduced in this one. They had a lot of complex compliance consequence issues, they had security concerns, and they wanted to manage the solutions using one single platform. Next slide. So this was the business use case. They have a compliance software which required asset attribute information, and which was stored in their EBS. And they had document management system, which was present in the document management system, where they had to pull the employee details from the HRMS system to populate the columns. And there's another system for GIS, where they had to pull the current asset information to display on their maps of their service territory. And they had Project WS business use case, where they had to send the work order details to Primavera P6 system, and the project scheduling, where they would ensure the process such as MRPs in the procurement for planning the material for accurate work start dates. These were the 5 use cases which they had. Next slide. So this is the architectural diagram, the proposed solution where Suneratech has successfully implemented for Minkota Power Cooperative. So on this left, you see all the system Sigma Flow, OpenText, Oracle EBS, ESRI, GS, and Primavera P6, all the 5 on-premise applications. Using OIC agent, we were able to connect to Oracle Integration Cloud environment, pass through the firewall, and using that, we were able to integrate all the on-premise systems using the OIC agent. So again, as Robert and Fal did mention, the OIC agent here helped this OIC agent component of the Integration Cloud product enabled to interact with all the legacy as well as the on-premise applications within no time with high security and faster connectivity. The next slide.
So a question here, obviously, when the customer comes to you with this use case, business case, they're saying, oh, this is what we need to do. This is a functionality. And then Sunera works with them. Again, this gets back to the planning question. So explain a little bit how that works. Is there a workshop involved? Does Sunera bring in experts and kind of do a discovery of what because oftentimes the customer may know what they want to do, but they may need some clarifications here and there. What's the role, pre-work that Sunera can help with in terms of workshops and other types of consultants type of work?
Great, Fal. Thank you so much for bringing an interesting point. So to answer that, and I'm sure everyone in this hall would benefit out of it, we have continuous efforts put in the workshops and a lot of webinars, workshops, we keep conducting it. So I keep doing it across the globe. To just name a few, the next week we are in Open World, and after Open World we have planned multiple workshops, hands-on workshops on Oracle Integration Cloud for a lot of customers in different states across the US as well as Canada. So in those workshops, I'm going to show hands-on demonstrations of using this product for a lot of our customers who have registered for those workshops, where we're going to talk about all these integrations. We're going to talk about the solutions, the best practices to use the product for their business use cases. So if you have a requirement, then please feel free to attend one of these workshops, and you get a lot of inputs from there, and we're ready to help you. Starting from your requirement gathering, solutioning, implementation, testing it, and the managed services piece.
Okay.
Thank you. So these are some of the technical highlights we've done for Minkota. It was just a 6-week implementation project to integrate 5 on-premise applications. That's a big thing. We've utilized on-premise connectors, including the REST services, SOAP services, and Direct SQL. And we have also used some of the automated and autonomous capabilities of the Integration Cloud product. Go on to the next slide. So this is an interesting point which you may want to make a note. 80%, so the benefits of our Suneratech solution for Minkota was 80% reduction in overall processing time. Rich integration analytics dashboard, they're able to see all the analytics in the rich dashboard, take decisions based on the KPIs, based on the real-time data. 90% of reduction in errors. So we have totally eliminated the manual efforts, human interventions, and the manual processes. And it's almost real-time data synchronization between all the 5 on-premise systems. So these are few benefits, and there are a lot more other benefits if you actually look at from the cost perspective, the speed perspective, and the performance perspective.
So when you talk about overall processing times, so the benchmark is, okay, let's say you have these 2 or 3 disparate applications. They have to interchange data. In the old way, you may have to do it manually or sneakernet or rekeying or something like that. That would be the processing time in the old way. And then the new way processing time is through this integration, through data interchange, data moves faster between applications, and therefore processings are triggered faster. That would be the new processing time. That's what we're comparing between old and new, correct?
Absolutely, Fal. You're absolutely right. So the overall processing time for the end-to-end integration, starting from A to Z, that entire time is cut down by 80%. So what it means for you is you have a lot of time to invest in the new businesses. So if you want to start a new business, And if you have real capital, you have partners to go ahead, you can just use that extra time in investing on the new innovation and the new businesses.
Okay.
This is another customer implementation which we have done, and it was for Greenworks Tools. Greenworks Tools is a leader in the battery powered outdoor power tools, and it distributes Green Power branded private label products. So this is another great example of Suneratech's implementation in the integration space. So this is the business case and the technical challenge which Greenworks Tools had. The existing process involved they had manual entering of the orders into the SAP B1 system. It's, of course, when you say manual, it is a lot of time consuming and prone to errors. So their requirement was to automate the synchronization of the orders, the shipment, and the invoice data between the Magento, which is a SaaS application, and SAP B1. It's in AWS cloud. So they had existing version of the B2B integrator, which was not capable of using their RESTful web services. So it was not able to consume the RESTful web services or expose the data as RESTful web services. So, and the SAP B1 system had no standard adapters. So always they had to require custom interfaces. The shipment details like, tracking number, carrier code, etc. from the SAP B1. So they had to manually enter all these data and in the eBay by their business reps. So the business reps were always doing this manually, because of which a lot of errors and a lot of time being wasted to enter all this data. And another challenge they had is they had limited in-house technical staff to implement all this, because unless you train the technical staff to enter these manually, you cannot run your business. So that's another technical challenge as well, apart from the business use case. So this is the architectural diagram where if you see from Magento and eBay to SAP B1 all the way. So the orders, shipments, and invoices between these systems were integrated using Oracle Integration Cloud, using complex data transformation, logging and monitoring, and the security being taken care at the OIC layer. So move on to the next slide. These were the benefits. So if you look at these benefits, we have had 80%, more than 80% of savings because of this automation versus the human labor. We have resolved complex data formats incompatibility. So there are a lot of complex data incompatibility between these three systems. So we have minimized that incompatibility. We have ensured that the overall growth of their business processing due to automation of order, shipment, and invoice data resulted in faster order fulfillment. And the great part is there's no human intervention, so which actually means less effort and no errors. So the notable rise in overall revenue, so you had end-to-end visibility of your order management processes, because of which there's 99% gain in the efficiency when they integrated the Magento, eBay, and SAP B1 systems. We had scheduled integrations created in this case, where integrations are run by themselves in a scheduled intervals of time, and that made this entire automation made Greenworks Tools a huge success. Next slide. So, so those are the customer use cases I wanted to talk. Fal, over to you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for that. That was really interesting. You know, a lot of this integration work can also be done with what we're going to be talking about on Friday, kind of lift and shift, right? So if people are moving their on-prem applications, both Oracle, non-Oracle, onto, you know, say the Oracle Cloud infrastructure, then do the integrations that exist on the on-prem world, do they happen to break sometimes? And then this tool, this OIC would help them do or fix or update the integrations when they're on the cloud, in the cloud environment. Would this tool be useful for that as well?
Absolutely, Fal. That's pretty useful. Robert, you want to add something there?
I was coming out of mute. So yeah, I think it does help in general, but we need to be clear is that integration is complex. And so I think where it generally helps is giving you more visibility in your integrations and integrations that run both in cloud and on-prem. It's not just siloed integration platforms, but we should be very clear is that there is no magic bullet that solves, every problem without any effort and clear thinking.
Right, right. And then final point is about managed services, right? So if you want a long-term, somebody to kind of work with you on the longer term basis to make sure these integrations are always up to date, and if there's anything or bringing in new application, managed services type of approach might be worth it, right? That gives you kind of long-term type of support as opposed to having to do every project as a point project.
Absolutely, Fal. You brought an interesting point. A few days back, I had an appreciation from one of our customers because now with the managed services piece, they feel very comfortable and secure with Suneratech's managed services offerings, because the kind of managed services we provide at the application integration development layer as well as in the infrastructure makes the customer feel safe, and we make sure that their environment is up and running 24/7, making sure that their end users do not have any sort of issues with the product, nor with the implementation.
Great. All right. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. We're at the top of the hour, bang on the hour. So that's great. We got everything done. I'm not seeing any kind of questions in the chat window. If anybody wants to raise their hand, they can. We can stick around a little more. I'm going to push this button that says Q&A and see if nope, there's no open questions or anything like that. So does anybody have any questions on the chat that they'd like to do, or raise their hand or anything like that? No, well, we will be providing a replay of this presentation, and we'll be sending it out to all the participants and those who registered as well. If anybody has any questions, would like more details, feel free to call Anirudh at the number listed on the screen. So anirudh.pucha@suneratech.com or at 248-434-0808, extension 171. Okay, great, gentlemen. Any last words from either of you that you want to kind of throw in there, or you think we covered everything here?
Fal, I just would like to thank Robert for joining in. Thanks so much, Robert, for taking time from your busy schedule to join this webinar. And thanks, Fal, for having the entire webinar. And thanks to everyone who has joined it, irrespective of the time zone you are in, from taking time from your busy schedule. Much appreciated. I'm sure we'll get a chance to work, and you can always feel free to contact me, call me, mail me for any of your questions or the business requirement you have. I'll be very happy to help you.
Great. So what you're saying is when you're not busy presenting to the world, you'll actually take questions and answer them about integration.
Sure, Fal.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both. Thank you, Robert. Again, really appreciate that. Looking forward to meeting you in person one day. If anybody's at Open World, come visit us at booth 3101. We'll be doing similar presentations at the booth. All of our experts will be there. You'll be able to kind of talk to them as well. And we do look forward to seeing everyone. So thanks again, everyone. Goodbye and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.